Now then, this is just an update to bring you all along with the extension to these solar array. We're going to put another 10 panels on this, and whether or not they'll go into the battery or whether they'll be grid tied is open to debate at the moment. But I thought I'd just catch this whilst the breeze is sort of medium. Hopefully in the back you can hear the turbine just pottering along. But we've moved on since the last time we looked at this array from up in the workshop window there. So let's go and have a look. So as you can see, we've got the rails in place. And so that's 10 meters long, and I've actually used 30mm box section for those rails, steel box section, 3mm wall. I was going to use angle iron, but when I looked at it in the rack I thought it's a little bit wobbly. For not very much more we got some box section. So whether or not that's logical or not, I don't know, but it was I was designing it, I was going along, so therefore you have to account for various things. Now the wind is in my back and I'm behind the camera, so I'm just going to have to be aware of that. So let's get a bit closer and move in on a few design features. So on the last video all we saw were these main uprights in place. Now, because that Denby drill that I've been rebuilding is so utterly brilliant at drilling holes rapidly, then it meant that most of this is bolted together. And my neighbour gave me a load of 8mm bolts, various lengths. They're all anodized or coloured or japanned or something like that. So they're perfect. So we've used a lot of those on here, and that's sort of the way it goes. The fact that it's all bolted together means I can take it apart, it's easy to put together, and it's adjustable. So during the design phase, if we go, this is wrong, it's not welded there, we just undo a few nuts and bolts and just move it. So the rails can be moved up and down and side to side and all sorts of things. So let's just zoom in on that. Hopefully that's focused and not focused on the twigs behind it. Let's move over to another one. Will it focus on that a bit better? Yes, it will. Okay, and let's hope the wind's not in the camera. So as you can see, the rails are bolted to this lump of angle iron, and the angle iron is then bolted round the angle iron upright or strut or whatever you want to call it. And because it's angle iron, one side I've used a short piece of box section to put the bolt through, so therefore it doesn't all pull one-sided, so it's effectively equal either side and it just clamps up solid. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense, and we're just going to come back, zoom out a bit, and of course just before we go any further, when I went to the steel stockists, I can't remember, these 7.2 meters or something like this. So I got them to cut them in half so I could move them. Yeah, and of course there's a join. But it does mean that again things are handleable, and just a quick drill of a few holes and just a bit of measuring to make sure they're all the same, and away you go. It all goes together. So what we were doing, oh yes, I remember, down here, we'll come down that strut, and the panels are going to be attached via these little bits of 40mm angle iron that will be welded on there, and that's on this case it's on the end panel, but where you get a next panel meeting like there, so above that there will be a piece of angle iron welded there, yeah, and the two frames will come together and clip onto there with security bolts and washers. Now if you notice, there's a bit of a design fault here, because that bolt there, which it won't focus on, but there's a nut and bolt there, and it might just be in the wrong place. And because everything's bolted together, this main upright, if I want to, I can move it sideways, or I can drill a hole in the little bit of angle iron, the 40mm angle iron we're going to add on, yeah, and put a longer bolt in there. So yeah, it's all swings and roundabouts and whatnot. Yeah. So there you go. Let's have a look from the back. So I've just lowered the camera, so hopefully it's been out of the wind so we don't get wind noise. So the struts are again bolted on, so it's all adjustable. There we go, there's a bolt there, and I don't know whether we can see it, but no, yeah, just about, there it is down there. And then we've got these stabilizers sticking out the back, and I will put a strut between the end of that stabilizer and the top of the strut, just to triangulate it a bit. And you know, it's all work in progress, experiments and whatnot, but I'm going to weld on all the little angle iron tabs for attaching the panels, and then give it a coat of paint. So that's the sort of update at the moment. That's as far as we've got. You know, all this sort of thing in amongst working and cutting firewood, well, not this time of the year, but you know what I'm doing. I'm felling a few trees down in the woods, and that will be for the firewood in 2 years' time. And just, you know, repairing the glass house. It all takes time, and this potters along in the background. And of course, by doing it that and not in a mad rush, then it allows for design changes. And you got to a certain stage, and you've got plenty of time to think about it. So we'll catch up with you soon.